I want to say that because of family events and matters. I haven't been in the mood to do anything particularly funny or entertaining, such as how it should have been for this week. And the Rubio Bridge short was made before this event. I was going to leave the 3-4 days of the week to make sure I can get the next how it should have been done, but events have made that quite hard to do. So let's get to this video that's not going to be that positive. Can RWBY Volume 5 be saved? I have no clue how they do it. Volume 5 so far has been a train wreck. It started off fine, I'll give it that. The first 2 and 4th episodes weren't that bad. In fact, episode 4 is my favorite episode of the volume. But the rest of it just fails. Its biggest flaw is that nothing's happening, and there's no good action. In fact, let's go through each episode and find out what actually happens in each of them. Episode 1. Team Ranger and Crow get to Haven Academy. Leonardo DiCaprio is introduced properly. Blake's scene is pointless. Weiss's scene is pointless. Crow is established as knowing where Raven is and that the Spring Maiden is there. We learn that specific maidens are required to unlock specific relics. Kraspin meets up with Crow again, the literal end credit scene of Volume 4. Leo shit talks a bit. And Yang is established as going to find Raven. That's a decent amount there. It's good. Episode 1 is entertaining without needing to throw in a pointless and bad fight scene. And while a lot of the plot stuff is in a pretty big exposition dump, it's still quite entertaining. Chapter 2. Leo and Watts go to Salem to tell her that Crow is there. Cinder's established to be able to talk again, which is good. Watts is told to do something about Tyrion's tail. Salem tells Cinder and the fuckers to go to the band, and Salem wants to talk to Tyrion. Weiss gets a pretty good fight scene and crashes onto the beach where Raven's tribe finds her, and Sienna Khan's pointless character gets impaled. Still, that's decent. It's more stuff that gets the ball rolling, and it's setting things up. 2 episodes in, and that's alright, and the action scene is one of the more inventive ones of the series. Chapter 3. Kira goes to the public with information. Oscar is established to be able to be possessed by Ozpin. That's not creepy at all. We learn about why Ozpin is what he is and what he is. Vernal is introduced, and that's the only purpose Weiss's scene serves. Ozpin says do nothing. Crow wants to get more huntsmen, and Ozpin's going to train the kids. Now that seems like a lot, or at least a decent amount, but really, think about it. Ozpin and Crow's stuff is all in a big and pretty boring exposition dump in this room that I shall christen the Room of Expose. Vernal's introduction is nothing all that interesting, and Gira's scene is meh. In this episode, we learn things, but we don't see anything actually happening. The only things that happen are Gira going to the public and Ozpin telling wankers not to do anything. Chapter 4. Yang gets a shitty fight scene. Yang goes to the bandit camp. Yang saves Weiss. Raven tells Yang to come in for more exposition. We learn what Raven's semblance is. Yang tells Raven she's only there to get Ruby. We learn some exposition on semblances. What makes the episode so good is that it's very entertaining. All of the conversation between Yang and Raven is quite interesting and quite good. Things happen. It's good. A lot of stuff is continued to be set up. The only issue is the very shitty fight scene. Well, and Weiss not hearing Yang shouting, and Ren's exposition boiling down to, well, we're going to confirm and reject your theory by saying that, meh, it might be true. Also, the training, yeah, this is the only time it amounts to anything, so another thing in Chapter 3 went nowhere. Chapter 5. Blake and Sun waste their time. Oscar rages against Ruby for no reason and wastes our time. Ilya is told to kill the Belladonnas. Yuma is introduced. And that's all. Seriously, the 16-minute long episode, longer than the last episode by a teeny bit, has one important thing, one mild important introduction, and that's it. The entire Blake and Sun portion is completely superfluous and doesn't need to exist. The Oscar rage against Ruby is also completely pointless, and I hate it because it comes out of fucking nowhere. This chapter, it is a waste. Chapter 6. Crow's search for Huntsman is pointless. Raven tells him that Raven and Crow went to Beacon just to get good at killing people. Crow and Raven are confirmed to turn to birds, which we knew in fucking Ruby Chibi. Team Stark is treated like Team Ruby, wow. Yang and Weiss get to Crow. In all this, one thing was important. The rest is superfluous and unneeded. Yang and Weiss getting to Crow was necessary, but the entire Crow looking for husband scene was unneeded, meaning another established thing in Chapter 3 is gone. Chapter 7. Ozpin explains everything to everyone. The Cinder Gang shows up at Raven's camp. That's it. 2 things in a 16-minute long episode. But at least the opening dinner scene was good, just because it was fun and entertaining due to the writing. The one good thing about Ruby's writing is that it's good at being funny. So wait up, we're halfway through this volume. Let's see what has happened. Weiss and Yang have arrived at Rangers. Oscar Pin has arrived at Rangers and explained everything to everyone. We've one good fight scene and one dance play that's almost as bad as Paradigm Spiral. Ilya is told to eliminate the Belladonnas. Cinder and the idiots, plus Watts' perfect mustache, arrive at Raven's camp. That's it. That's what has happened that is of note at all in the first 7 episodes. Now yes, we've learned plenty of things, but those have come from long, boring exposition scenes. Seriously, how many exposition scenes have there been in the first 7 episodes? I'll be fair and not count 2 moments as separate scenes if there's just a clip of another story thrown in the middle. Episode 1, Ranger and Lionheart. Episode 3, Ranger and Ozpin. Episode 4, Ranger and Oscar. Episode 6, Yang and Raven. Episode 7, Ranger and Ozpin. Literally every episode other than chapters 2 and 5 have exposition dumps, and literally all but episode 6 involve Team Ranger and Crow. Chapter 5's problem is being completely pointless though. So really, this is just making up for the lack of exposition earlier. And yes, the previous volumes all suffer from a lack of exposition scenes spaced out. This one suffers from making up for that by cramming 5 into 7 episodes. And 2 of the important things that happen are just characters meeting up with the main cast, and 2 are just setup. So far, the only things that have happened are idiots coming together and trying to hype us up for what comes after. But there are 2 more episodes. Do they shed a good light? Does it make it seem that you can save it? Maybe having half a volume doing nothing but explaining things and setting things up will have a good payoff. What does chapter 8 have? 1 character moment, a 9th of a fight scene, and the only tolerable Blake scene so far. Jesus Christ. All this chapter did was show us Yang is still a bit pissed at Blake, pissed off Tumblr for the dumbest reasons ever conceived, and give fuel for Mediocrity 4 to come up with a more interesting scene involving a race between characters. And this guy's a fanfic writer with less subs than I, and not even at 1,000 subs. This guy came up with a better story that could be told than actual writers. And that's not me trying to say he's dumb and that makes the writers seem bad that a dumb guy thought of something better. Is to say something that the writers, professional writers, have written worse than a YouTuber with a pretty small fan base. Also, spiders can't shoot webs like that. Spiders don't have veins that pronounce that they look like a living cock, and they don't have blue hands because clearly those aren't gloves. Not to mention Yuma here is completely wrong for a bat, but eh. And why are the Fox guys here? Why bother hiring someone if you're gonna do the thing you hired them to do yourself? Why? Why? Why are you here? And chapter 9 has a negotiation scene that proves everyone are idiots. More idiotic choices and a 10th of a fight scene, which is the characters also being idiots. Well, at least there aren't any exposition scenes. And all these episodes set up is a possibly awesome climax. Though with 9 episodes just setting things up, giving us barely any good fights, as in 1, having nothing but exposition make up most of the runtimes and so on, I think the perfect description for this volume so far is empty. Nothing happens for the most part. Most of the episodes could have been combined with just the removal of a few pointless scenes. Heck, most of chapter 5 could have been left out and chapter 6 could have just had its ending slapped on. This volume could be saved. It'll take a lot of hard work. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm not sure if the general viewing populace will stay interested in RWBY. The show's main selling point from the start was the crazy action. Now yes, a lot of people stayed for the humorous writing, the fun characters, the awesome soundtrack, and the sheer absurdity of things, like a food fight that destroys an entire building, and a 15-year-old girl running up a cliff face to decapitate a massive raven while firing off sniper rifle rounds attached to a scythe around the bird's neck and being supported by symbols on the area after being fired from a slingshot made out of the ribbon of a handgun, katana, cleaver, kusarigama, with the assistance of a 17-year-old girl in white throwing her with a red symbol while she fires from a sniper rifle at the bird, which is just immobilized by that same 17-year-old girl, stabbing the ground and causing ice right after the bird was just thrown to a wall because it deep-throated numerous shotgun rounds punched out of her busty blonde's gloves. This sort of stuff is what kept people hooked. But this volume doesn't have that. Now, I don't mind it taking itself seriously, but to do so, be more like volumes 3 and 4. Keep the fight scenes and have things actually happen. This volume has tracks that I don't remember. No real so absurd it's amazing moments, very little consistent comedic and fun writing and characters, and virtually no fight scenes. The volume is empty. Do you see why I say that now? This is a volume of RWBY that takes out a lot of what made RWBY the success it is. It's not a show which can be all attractive when put under a microscope to analyze, and it used to know this. And so did most of the fandom. And you can be a serious-ish series and still be mindless fun. Look at Dragon Ball Z or Transformers G1. These don't look that good under a microscope. They have many plot holes, inconsistencies, and bullshit pulled out of their asses. But when watching them, it can still be a lot of fun. And they do take themselves seriously, while maintaining comedic elements and fun moments. More so with Dragon Ball Z. But this volume is failing. It's taking itself too seriously, and it lacks quality writing that can make itself a serious series. This volume is riddled with terrible pacing, bland writing, boring scenes, pointless scenes, and worst of all, a complete lack of anything happening. Can Volume 5 be saved? Yes. But will it be easy? No. But despite what I think, tell me what you think down below. And know that I am really hoping it succeeds. I mean, when Sonic for Hire, Dick Figures, and even their own Cam surpasses you, that's pretty embarrassing. Spider Faunus, looks nothing like a spider does. Can he shoot webs from her hands? Yes, she can. What the fuck? What is she, Miles Morales?